And I saw the women making their husbands' plates before they ate, and they've been in the kitchen all day cooking. And I'm like, you should be the first one to eat,
Mhm.
And so that the program has started right there. Y'all just chilling with me and Keys. She is my co-host for today. We're just gonna vibe and I'm gonna pull some cards and we're gonna talk about some things. We really don't know what's gonna happen. So you are along for the journey. Don't be shocked and surprised if you hear me cussing. I'm gonna try to keep it to a minimum because community guidelines. I gotta make sure I'm in my light feminine energy. So yeah. And don't be surprised if I say something that is shocking to you because that's the norm over here. Breaking the program and decolonizing the mind. You don't think like everybody else. So that's what it is. Um, yeah, so geez, like we before we got on here, we was mentioning, and we've been talking about this a lot lately, actually, but the dark feminine, the way the dark feminine has been demonized and shown is like it's a negative thing. It's a lot to unpack in it, but I think it'd be good for us to open up as to defining what dark feminine energy is, because it's a lot of information out there and I don't always agree with it. But you know, I feel like the nice girl syndrome, which was created by the patriarchy, so that we would be accommodating, right? We would be accommodating. That's been prioritized, so that we would be easygoing. Woman is meant to be easy. She's meant to be, and it was even a point where I thought if I couldn't be those things, I wouldn't be able to attract a partner and have a relationship because I never really was her. I knew how to be kind and things like that, but I always had a wild, mysterious side to me. So what do you think about that? Do you feel like maybe the purpose of the patriarchy was to shut down the dark feminine, and what traits reflect that?
So, she had just recently gotten married. I think she's only been married for about 2 years or so. However, prior to her getting married, she had a healthy lifestyle. She was eating well, she was exercising, her kids were eating a well-balanced diet. Once she got married, everything changed. And she used the word accommodating. She was accommodating to her husband to where she started to cook a lot more things that he liked and less of what she had been accustomed to. And as a result, her cholesterol's gone up. Her weight's gone up. She's much more stressed now. Um, Her A1C has gone up, which is, an indication for prediabetes or diabetes, depending on the level. And, I had to have a conversation with her. I said, something society has gotten, it has caused, women to just accommodate to everybody else's needs and put ourselves on the back burner, and that was a moment for her. But it's true. We're always taught as young girls um to take care of everybody else. And that usually happens before we're able to take care of ourselves. We have to consider everybody's emotions. We have to, consider everybody's physical needs. And so as we're learning that through our girlhood into, being a teenager into womanhood, it's embedded in us. And so um it's a traumatic continuation of putting yourself aside. And when we do that, we don't address anything that we're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Continue to say, oh, I shouldn't feel depressed, or I shouldn't feel anxious. Like, I'm supposed to be able to juggle all these things and really just do it so beautifully. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not supposed to complain. I'm not supposed to this, that. I'm just supposed to roll with it, no matter how hard it is or devastating it is, or demeaning it is, because we're really demeaning ourselves. We're disrespecting ourselves because we don't have any boundaries. We just we don't have what we truly need to succeed in this life. And that's all by design. And I feel like all of this is meant to suppress and repress the dark feminine and, just never give her time to really surface. It's kind of like the inner child too. Like as women, I feel like we have that double battle that we're fighting. We're suppressing our inner child and we're suppressing our dark feminine, which is
Yeah, that's a
it's a
lot.
deadly thing. It
It's
keeps us in a harmful cycle.
yeah, because I remember being young and I would be called to help in the kitchen, but my brothers and cousins and stuff didn't.
Didn't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember making their plates, and it was almost like that communicated to me, oh, they're supposed to eat first. They're not supposed to help. So, and I saw the women making their husbands' plates before they ate, and they've been in the kitchen all day cooking. And I'm like, you should be the first one to eat,
Mm-hmm.
And so that the program has started right there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and you probably got memories like that too. And I remember it seems like sons didn't have the same level of expectations that we did
Right.
to be productive and a part of the community and to help out and to help the family. I mean, maybe he had to take out the trash, maybe, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that, with cleaning, it was mostly, girls supposed to be clean. Go in there
Right.
and up. And
Right.
but what about the boys?
Right.
They ain't doing nothing.
Right.
And I this is the dark feminine because the dark feminine is the things that we think that we do not say because it doesn't fit into the conformity
Yes.
society, right? It's not considered acceptable.
Right.
And I remember asking myself, well, is this because women have already made up in their mind that men are useless? They kitchen, they useless for cleaning up, and you might as well just do it yourself.
Right.
That's kind of what, looking back, it was kind of like they had already come to these conclusions many generations
Right.
before.
Right.
And,
Because I remember like, certain individuals in my family, aunts, great aunts, they would just shoot them out like,
Mhm.
let's just go. And I understand. I agree with you. It's almost like they were just like, you're useless right now. You're in my space. I need you gone.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
it,
slowing down my progress.
yeah, it's true. You,
Yeah.
I think that there's so much, even for myself, my codependent conditioning was like really, really, really hardcore because not only did I grow up with that, but I grew up, of course, I was touched by religion. So there was that element of what a woman is supposed to be. And I just have to be honest because the dark feminine represents repression, subconscious, the mystery, the shadow aspects. This is a consciousness that actually rules over boundaries. This is a
Mm-hmm.
consciousness that rules over self-respect and dignity.
Mm-hmm.
Know what those things were, you know.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us, we boundaries wasn't modeled to us. So
Right.
you couldn't lock your door. You couldn't go. It was sometimes where it's like, don't even close your damn door in the house for too long. With your door closed,
Right.
open your door.
Right.
Remember that? And I'm like, what? Like this programming is so toxic. And when you think about, let's think of some dark archetypes from religion, right? So Jezebel would be a great example.
Mm-hmm.
She was assertive. She knew what she wanted. She knew how she wanted the kingdom to be run, what she wanted things to be done. And she went after that and did that. And she was accused of being a witch and, you know,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things. I even used to bang that drum back in the day. Oh, she got a Jezebel spirit. And it's more than one side to everything. But maybe Abel was, it's funny his name was Abel, but maybe Abel was like a lot of men who've been conditioned by the patriarchy, and he just wasn't fucking able to get the,
Right.
what was the condition behind it?
Yeah.
Like, so I was watching a documentary about ancient Egyptian queens and how
Mm,
a lot of them really structured so many things, especially within the realm of spirituality, commerce, trade. They were the ideas behind these things. And they were like really, really good at creating calm out of chaos, bring
mhm,
order and using the feminine. So if you think about that, there's this inherent subconscious fear of being a powerful woman means that I'm not going to be desirable because
mhm,
that has the potential to highlight inadequacies in women.
mhm,
And
mhm.
I want to be desirable. Do you agree with that?
I totally agree with it. A lot of women just tone themselves down. They want to be pretty, of course. The exterior is like super pretty and they want to, be passive. They make those things a priority because they don't want to be looked at as quote unquote intimidating. And I don't think it's necessarily intimidation, it's just more so you're revealing that man's inadequacies, things that he is not comfortable with or doesn't even know how to approach or handle or deal with um, within himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you body that's solid within himself, who's dealt with his inner child wounds, who's dealt with all those traumas, he's going to show up and be okay with who you are, no matter who you are. So I totally agree with you there.
Yeah. And I think that to label the dark feminine energy as the witch, you know, that has a negative connotation with it. But
Mhm,
if we be honest, everything that exists in society right now was created by some form of mind control, psychological programming, capitalism, religion,
mhm.
advertising, marketing. Literally everything around us was created by what we would call witchcraft.
Which, right, right, exactly. But that speaks to the cognitive dissonance. Pretty much everybody, because it's like, okay, if we really just sit and just analyze everything, whether it's religion or whatever, we can see the various similarities. You're just putting a different name on it, you know? But you can't have that conversation with everybody else. It's like they look at you and it's like, what? What are you
Yeah,
talking about? As a
yeah.
Christian, I don't do those things. Yes, you do. You just call it something different. I mean,
I mean, if you go to Victoria's Secret and you get you some nice lingerie, okay, glam portion, okay, you check, you got that part of the witchcraft down.
right. That glamour magic is real good there. You done tapped into that Jezebel spirit y'all always talking about.
Because a man, he likes to freak in the bed, and a lady in the streets, more compartmentalism. We got people, but if
Yeah.
people, then that's an issue too, because now you're too emotional and you're got all these other personalities and sides to you I'm not vibing with. The unawakened masculine doesn't know how to be with those different sides, except for the lady in the streets and the freak in the bed. Those are two that are acceptable. So you get the fragrance, you choose a fragrance, and that fragrance is created by cedar or musk or vanilla, all of these different things that are all
Man.
right, right. Oud, which creates magnetism and it increases sexuality and desire.
Right. Right.
So yeah, you're a witch. You-
You're painting your face, you're, I mean, color magic, like everything, like even, the churches, especially, Black churches, is purple and gold.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's everywhere. That's like the prime color that they go for. So it's like I said, people they just put labels on it and they want to call it what they call it, and this is good and that over there is bad, but technically it's all the same. So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even let it bother me anymore. Like when I first entered the spiritual journey,
Yeah.
say 2018, it used to bother me. I used to feel, kind of just alienated. But now it's what it is. I don't feel those types of things anymore. I am who I am. And that's that.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. I feel the same way. And I also, the reason I could really, really do another decoding, I've done 8 to 9 years of decodings on religion, breaking down every aspect that connects to a lot of the issues that we have.
hmm
I couldn't learn any of that without access to the subconscious mind, without access navigating that with the dark feminine. So, what people fail to realize is that to even be religious is to be choosing to be a part of a program that is sorcery. It's mind control. This is how I want you to believe, and you're not allowed to believe anything different than what I have laid out for you, which
right,
dangerous because it takes away people's ability to navigate life with what feels best for me, what resonates for me. And so codependency is created by religion as well, because
right,
you learn to rely on something outside of you or a God above you. And this is what we're doing is really different, but I never tell people who are religious that it's something wrong with what they're doing because it was a stepping stone for me, right? So maybe it could be for them too.
right,
If it's working for you, that's okay. But there's only a certain level of healing that can happen until you can see the dark side of everything that's being done.
right, right,
Otherwise,
right.
circles. And so the thing with the dark feminine is Gabor Mate says that 80% of diseases is caused by emotional wounds, and that 80% of autoimmune diseases is women, not men. So,
And it's all that internal stress, the internal struggles. Women feel a lot of emotion, they feel a lot of stress, mental, physical, emotional stress, and we hold on to it. We keep it bottled up so much. Yeah, we go to our girl circles and we talk, but that doesn't help because I mean, it helps a little bit. But once you go back into that environment and you're doing the same things and you're having to suppress and hold on to things so much more, it just piles up and piles up. And then you get illnesses, you get chronic back pain, your abdomen is just out of whack. You have a lot of joint pain because of that, headaches. And then that's where your other chronic diseases, diabetes, because your cortisol levels up, you're eating trash all the time. Um, and the autoimmune conditions, thyroid,
mm-hmm,
it's affected by stress. Lupus, you
yeah,
know, just psoriasis, just look, there's so many things that we're at risk for. And unfortunately, when we go to medical professionals, we're not being heard.
yeah,
Um, and, they just kind of want to band-aid everything. But unfortunately, it just doesn't help anything. It doesn't heal anything. And I know the one thing that we have to start doing is really tapping into that dark feminine energy
yeah,
because we've already been on the soft side is not beneficial. It's beneficial for certain things, but not to really navigate in this world. You have to have the dark feminine and you have to have a balance. So that's what we need to work towards. And I think that we are. A lot of women are waking up.
yeah,
Um, but there's still, just like you said earlier, a lot of information out there that is pulling people in so many different, directions, and that they really don't know which is the real direction that they need to go in. But that's where intuition comes in. You can kind of feed out the bullshit, you can kind of just kick it to the curb if it doesn't, suit you, if it doesn't feel good to you. But that's where you come in, Cam. That's where you come in. That's
Well,
pain
to
and purpose, right?
me, I get that because me and you met through me having the courage to step out with my message and share my gift with the world. And we ended up building a sisterhood like none other. You know,
Mhm.
we're just a representation of what is happening and what's supposed to be happening. And I think it seems like because after I saw Solange's post, literally my intuition, this is why I got a free intuition ebook, y'all. So you have no excuse to not be able to master intuition. It is a journey, it is a process. If you got emotional wounds, inner child healing, insecure love attachments, people in your life who are draining your energy, is going to make it more difficult for you to be able to listen to your intuition, but it can be done. So grab that free ebook on the website and actually practice that. Don't get it and get distracted and doom scroll on Instagram and TikTok. Like actually sit down and read it and practice it, print it out, do whatever you need to do, but make sure that you're investing in yourself to do this. But I was going to say, I was a little discouraged, and I get discouraged. It happens when you go through an awakening. This is the common myth. When you go through awakening, you're supposed to like always be in high vibes, and it's the complete opposite. When you go through the awakening, you have to shed the trauma, the emotions connected to that, the inner dialogue that holds those things in place. You start shedding that stuff. And the more you shed, the more you see with your first eye. And the more you see with your first eye or third eye, the more you realize that your two eyes is based in an illusion and it's lying to you. So this is where you have to start choosing to ignore reality, listen to your intuition, learn how to sit with those deeper, darker emotions. This is where the dark feminine comes in. Because if you're trying to willpower yourself through this, the ego is going to be really what's driving. And long as the
Mhm.
ego is in a driver's seat and you're in survival mode and your nervous system is dysregulated, what you see in your reality that was created by your past self does not align with who you are today. And it will trick you. You can literally wake up feeling abundant and get a bill that's 5 times more than what you make. And right there, boom, your energy,
Mhm.
it happens. And it's toxic positivity is such a issue right now. And I feel like a lot of influencers in the spiritual community paint this picture that there's no pain and nothing is ever going to be wrong. You should be vibing high. To be a goddess means that you're completely in control of your reality, and your reality never does anything that you don't want it to do. And it's like, no, that's not it.
Right.
You're going to go into the underworld of your own subconscious mind, and you're going to be able to now see how that is being mirrored in your reality. And this also means that you might come to some conclusions about your career, about your partner, about your children. Especially if you got adult children, you really start to learn stuff about what your subconscious mind has created in your reality. So all of
Mhm.
these things start to shift. And there's a period where you're going to be very uncomfortable because you're outgrowing what you're having to look at every single day. And it's not matching up the stuff that you wanted to manifest, that you're visualizing and meditating. I hope you're doing that. If you're not doing that, like that's one of the biggest part of this ascension process and actually breaking cycles. So with that being said, I'm sitting in some dark emotions. And this is something that I really did not like doing for a long time. But I'm sitting in it, I'm sitting with it, because when you abandon yourself, when you need to process those deeper, darker energies, you are now causing your inner child to feel as if it is not loved. And now your inner child feels abandoned all over again because the inner child might be sad about some shit that happened that you didn't process in your adult mind. And it's bringing
Mhm.
and you dismissing the inner child. So I'm sitting with it. I just said a lot right there, like that part, got to take that back. But I'm sitting with it. You know, before I pick up my phone, I want my feed to reflect something back to me that helps me in this moment.
Right.
And this is that thing that I call digital magic, because if you're not being intentional when you get on these devices and start streaming and stuff, you could end up in somebody's net of all types of shit. Okay.
Right. Big time.
Yes. And Solange had just made a post literally seconds before I opened Instagram. She had just made a post and she was just vibing to some music that she created in the sunset on the boat. And I mean, it was just the most like feminine thing ever. So beautiful, blissful. It was just, she was just really enjoying being who she is and
Mhm.
enjoying herself, her talents, her gifts, some free time, some downtime. And in that moment, I was feeling the complete opposite. I was feeling overwhelmed, um, having some issues that I don't exactly know how I'm going to navigate, because I'm in a phase in my feminine ascension journey where the old things that I use don't work anymore. That's
Mhm.
it happens. And it was a reminder to me to continue doing what I'm doing, because on the other side of us, we are going to have those moments, and they may not come every day, but it makes them more blissful because they don't come every day. We wouldn't appreciate it if it was just easy
It was
and
right.
right. And I comment,
Right.
so many. I know I'm not alone, and we have this thing in our mind where women don't want to see us enjoy our life and be happy. And that is an old earth programming created by the patriarchy that no longer applies. It's not true. It's a lot of women out here who support one another and
Right.
actually like really, really loving the fact that you're able to love anything about your life, even if they're not in a space where they feel their way about themselves, they're glad to see it for you.
Right.
And so this is the healed feminine. This is the sacred feminine. And so
Yeah.
it. And I told her, overwhelmed, burnt out, just stressed out, just having to manage so many things. And it's nice to see you enjoying life. And I remember a post about her expressing the fact that she had dealt with some chronic health issues. So
Mhm.
it's even more beautiful to see that. And it gave me encouragement for some of the things that I'm going through. I was not expecting a response. I woke up actually this morning. It was over 800 other women who resonated with what I said, including Solange. And that I have a tendency to dim my light and think that I'm inferior, but that showed me no, you actually shined a light on a dark space and
Right.
needed it too. They needed to hear that. So, yeah, I could just go on, but I think that this is a testament to where we're entering into. And in order for you to have a sisterhood like how we have, it's okay to have those low moments, but you also need to be aware that there are women who are going to love and respect your boundaries. And even if they see you navigating life without boundaries, they'll tell you, sis, you're going to have to put some boundaries around it. You know,
Right.
that this exists and we're proof of that.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure. 100% agree.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So what I'm going to do is in the course is called Turn Pain into Purpose. Literally, I took relationship issues, chronic health issues, issues with family dynamics, the narcissistic society, the patriarchy, issues with some of the programming around our insecure love attachments and why that exists. I took issues around codependency and not really being able to take care of yourself without feeling guilty, not being able to say no, having people in your life maybe that don't understand why you're changing and how to navigate that with the least amount of conflict possible. I said a lot just in that bit, and that's just a portion of what's in that course. And it's like simple, practical things, yet it's profound and deep. And I
Mhm.
took all of the information that I have collected over the years from doing one-on-ones and from doing group coaching to see what's going to really help us. Because I'm not out here trying to be doing nothing for clout. My time is very precious to me. And I would rather give people tools that actually work. So I want
Right.
to let y'all know that I'm going to do a special kind of reading for everybody that buy the course. The next 10 people that get the course, I'm going to do a genetic trauma reading for you. So all you have to do, grab the course, send me a message. I need your name, your birth date, time, and place. If you don't know the time, just let me know that. And it's okay. We can still work around that. I'm going to do a genetic trauma reading based on your Akashic record and your human design, also your gene keys. These are different things that you can use based around astrology to see what did your soul incarnate to do to overcome. Because sometimes it can be difficult to pin down what you're supposed to be doing because you're running all over everywhere trying to do everything.
Mhm.
We've been
Mhm.
um, part of healing the feminine is slowing down. So you'll be a part of private community, and you will also have access to me and questions and access to keys for questions and support. But yes, I'm going to do that for the next 10 people that get the course. And right now, if I'm not mistaken, the course is on sale. So um, go ahead and grab that. If it's been tight financially for you, we're going through a financial reset as well, because a lot of us base our worthiness on how much money we made. And if you are meant to be a spiritual being, you can't base your sense of worth and your value on how much money you make. So that's kind of breaking and shifting and changing for you. Just know it's part of the process. It's not forever, but there is a certain mindset and certain practices that you can be doing to change that. And that's in the course as well.
Mhm.
Okay, so Isis, give us guidance today, and I will be accepting some readings. So all you have to do is go to the website and book with me. And let me tell you, sis, tell them about readings with me. Like, I don't.
Readings phenomenal. I think I've had what, two or three?
Mm,
But they're phenomenal. She gets right to the point. She doesn't sugarcoat shit at all.
mhm.
Tell you what you need at that moment, to navigate in this realm. Um, because we have a lot of shit that we have to unpack and that we have to deal with. So she taps in, she really taps in. She gets, I mean, depending on your reading, obviously, but the energy that she provides is, like I said, phenomenal. She, tapped into me so much. I was like, okay, she's the real deal. Like, she's the real deal. And the thing is that don't just get the reading, like do the work.
Yeah, yeah,
Important. You can get the reading, you can get the information all day, but if you're just gonna write it down or, just get the recording or whatever and just let it sit and collect dust wherever, then it doesn't make any sense. You have to take the advice, put it to work, and once you do that, it's going to unlock so much more so that you can continue on the journey. But she's awesome. So just take advantage of the opportunity.
Ashe. Yeah, I think that when people are finally ready, they when because there's a certain level of openness that you have to have, or the reading won't produce for you any
Hmm.
solutions because of
Hmm.
you afraid to open up. Um,
Hmm.
that's a big part of it, and what comes through me. I'm not the typical reader. I tried to be. I really tried to be. I'm not, because what comes, I'm a medium too. So it's like I'm talking to your ancestors, and your great grandmama is telling me some stuff she wants to tell you. So
Yeah.
it's really no limit to what can happen in a reading with me. And I just fully open and allow myself to connect and give them whatever it is that they need.
Right.
Yeah. That's interesting because the very first card that I pulled um, was the Pyramid of Light for psychic protection. And, for this meeting, and I feel like a lot of this is because we've been talking about this, but a lot of this is when you start doing the healing work, there are certain energies that don't know how to connect to spirit. And so they're going to try to connect to you to siphon that. And so it's a lot of interference happening right now, a whole lot of interference. And
Mm-hmm.
action is like really one of the biggest parts of this journey. So, how do you protect yourself from energies that may not be conducive to you? And this could be energies that's coming from you, your own dialogue. That
Mm-hmm.
let's start there. Let's not even focus on other people first. You know, the goal is to focus on you first. So for me, stepping my game up and creating this course, I didn't want to create this course and I was not living it to the highest possible potential. So
Mm-hmm.
my inner dialogue can be really, really perfectionistic, negative, critical, and
Mm-hmm.
else and even on other people, you know. So for me, I started the parasite heavy metal detox
Mm-hmm.
by Mrs. Rogers Hood. I think on Instagram you can find her. But I started this. I'm on my 28th day actually. So I'm almost done with my first 30 days because I understand that my willpower is not enough. If I got parasites, and parasites are actually like what creates certain thinking patterns, right?
Right.
This is what creates cravings. Anything that can create a craving has to create a thinking pattern because there's a thought you're going to have that's going to lead to the craving, right? And they can
Right.
bully you and
Mm-hmm. They're bullies.
you don't need to. Like,
You, you know you want that donut. Eat that donut.
oh, no. I started really tuning into when I have cravings and what thoughts I'm having at that moment. I just started
Mm-hmm.
exposing. And I was like, you piece of shit. Wait a minute. Hold on. It's 11 o'clock at night. And you want me to go in there and get me a slice of cake? Are you serious? So tomorrow, the stuff that I got to do is going to be shaded with shit because I'm going to feel shitty about what I did the night before. Like it's going to offer me some instant gratification, you know,
Right. Right. Right.
tomorrow. And
Mm-hmm.
this is when I learned how to talk back. But even
Yeah.
back wasn't enough. They is strong. Them
That's
strong. Scientists say that it is the parasites that actually lead to who we choose as partners. And and it makes so much sense.
yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
is in vibration, right? So some love attachment that a lot of people are learning about in trauma bonds, these conversations, if you don't get into the conversation on the spiritual, psychic level, you're missing a really big piece of this. And
Right.
that's, yeah.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, that's all of the conversation can have. But I know in hindsight, after doing these detoxes, I'm gonna get more insights and continue to share. But I also went ahead and did the zeolite. It's called Pure Body Spray, and I
Mm-hmm.
think what's his name that played in Hustle and Flow and Empire? Uh, yeah, he
Mm-hmm.
Rogan Experience show.
Yeah.
He was taking this
Okay.
and it was collecting dust because I got it. I started using it, but I didn't open my lymphatic pathways properly and wasn't draining. So I got sick and ended up in the hospital after this.
Right. Right.
But yeah, there is a way that you do that. I have a health coach now that has been major in helping me. And you know, this ain't the first time, but when we did the Sacred Sisterhood and the Dark Goddess University, I had a health coach that I connected y'all with, everybody in there. So
Mm-hmm.
like y'all, I don't gatekeep. If it's something that you need or want to improve your life, like hit me up. You know, I'm not with the gate.
That's like it's super important to get like the physical health in check because if not, even if you are doing those spiritual things, you're always going to kind of have those roadblocks in place.
Mhm.
And like you said, with the parasites, yeah, and the bacteria,
Mhm.
like the testing that we spoke on that I did, the biome testing, it was really eye-opening. I'm in the Google search looking at these bacteria that's circulating in my body, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
crazy. And I mean, we are bacteria. I get that. But when there are ones that are just overgrowing that should not, it's really not going to allow for you to feel normal. And it's been an adjustment period since I got my results yesterday of just like, wow, I've been eating a lot of things that are healthy
Mm-hmm.
that are not for me right now. Not to say that I can't revisit them, a while from now, but as in this moment, I can't eat beans. I can't eat lentils. I can't eat pumpkins. Like, it's a hard pill to swallow, especially when you're on the spiritual side of things and you've let meat go for this amount of time. And now you have to look at your health from a different perspective. And those fruits and vegetables are not it. You know, that's not all that you need to do to heal your gut. So yeah, it's a journey. But until we get our physical health like on track and strengthen those defenses, we're not really going to be able to tap in as much as we would hope for in any given period of time.
Yeah, it's
Um,
true. And I was trying to willpower my way through it. Psychic protection means protecting the body. And this is a huge piece. This is
right.
why many of us with chronic fatigue, chronic pain. Even if you don't have an autoimmune disease, you probably have symptoms that's starting to get your attention, low back pain, headaches,
Right.
insomnia, like your sleep patterns are just really, really off. So many different things been speaking to us. You know,
Oh, and hormone balance.
I was just going to say, and the fact that a lot of us are entering into the age where hormone imbalances is a normal thing, that's going to affect your mood, your behavior. It's going to affect what you can handle in your day-to-day life. Maybe the 20-year-old you could handle everything that's in your life, but the 40-year-old you is like, no, we need to figure out a way to innovate so that you can slow down and self-care,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And that's a hard pill to swallow because in my mind, I'm 16, baby.
Mm-hmm.
My body,
Yeah.
every bit of 60.
Yeah. I
Like,
totally understand. Well, understand that for sure. Yeah.
uh, and I think that it's the patriarchy has been really unfair for women because if you think about our mothers and grandmothers, great grandmothers and great aunts, I didn't even know they were going through perimenopause and menopausal things because they run circles around their men.
Right.
Yeah, they would go to work, come home, they would cook, they would clean up. And now that I'm entering into some of these symptoms, I'm like, how the hell were they even doing that? That's some real superhero shit. However, generationally on an epigenetic level, that
Mm-hmm.
imprinted onto us, I must be productive. I'm
Mm-hmm.
unproductive. If I'm not productive, I'm not going to be desirable. So I need to make sure I look good, keep it together. I mean, because all the women in my family, they did it while they was looking good, honey. I mean, it's just fucking amazing when I think about what they were able to accomplish. But
Mm-hmm.
most of them died with heart disease,
Right.
diabetes.
Heart or some type of cancer or heart attack, which is, equivalent of heart disease to a degree. Yeah. Or they have fibroid tumors, and most of them had hysterectomies because of it.
Yeah. So it was a lot that they sacrificed
Right.
to keep up with those roles and the
Mm.
unfair standards that were set. It's just really terrible. So it's time right now. Don't focus on the external interference. Focus on the interference that's happening within you. You can
Mhm.
so and let me say this too. Y'all, I don't care if it sounds like arrogance, but it's true. But I'm really one of the most underrated spiritual teachers because I connect things that seem not to connect, and I make this shit really simple and make it make sense. But it is what it is. Um, but when you dissociate, when your system is not regulated, and you go into any type of dissociation because maybe you've been operating survival mode all day, When your hormones are imbalanced, you rely on cortisol to get shit done. And that's why sometimes I can't even get up and get things done until the last minute because
Mm.
the pressure of the last minute helps me to go ahead and do it.
Mm.
Uh, I know you relate. So what happens is I dissociate for a while. I tune everything out. It could be a TV show I'm binge watching. It could be a book I'm reading. It could be something like those things. Those activities are quite okay. But the fact is, I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm trying to soothe myself out of feeling overwhelmed. I can't remove myself completely from my reality. It would be nice to be able to hop on a private jet and go to an island and tell everybody, look, take care of you. The nanny is here. I'll be back in a couple of days. But since I can't do that yet, I dissociate and I detach. Dissociation is when you're really not in your body. You're really trying to leave your body because of what your body is feeling. And so, what I've been doing instead of dissociating is doing things that ground me and pull me back in my body, find things that soothe my nervous system so I can be in my body and it feels less like a struggle. Um,
Right.
a lot, but when you're not in your body, who is watching the front door?
Right.
Now, on the psychic level, you're wide open.
Wide open. Exactly.
So, this is if somebody got evil eye energy in that moment, that's when that energy is going to start really starting to penetrate you,
Right.
you know. So, psychic protection, yeah, we go over that in the course. And
Hmm.
created something called ambiance. Om is the sound of creation, it's a very protective sound. But there are things that you can do where you don't have to change people in your environment. And there are things that you can do that will just change the frequency around you so that you do feel more protected and more safe. And so, honey, I got some stories about why I created that and what it took for me to get there. But yes, we talk about that over there in the course. But the second card that I pulled, which was a little shocker, was Healing the Divine Masculine. And this is the Healing the Divine Masculine. We,
Such a
can,
part.
we cannot forget about this.
Right.
Isis in mythology created Horus and Osiris based
Mm-hmm.
because she took her male counterpart, which was viewed as an extension of her own male energy within her, because we all have both. And he messed around and got unalived by his brother Set. And who come to fix it? Isis does.
Mm-hmm.
And she's putting him back together, and his penis was the last thing that was missing. That story alone is a reflection of what happened to the divine masculine, the emasculation, the confusion.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of men are fragile. They're fragile emotionally,
Right.
spiritually, on a psychic level, mentally. They may be strong physically, but that was the only thing that was really rewarded by the patriarchy for men. So that's what a lot of them focused on.
Right.
So for women, our divine masculine energy is needing to come forward to create boundaries and structure. It is the masculine aspect of you that's like, no, we need structure around this. No,
Mm-hmm.
on this. And so with this particular card coming up and this energy, you know, we must remember that it kind of sounds strange that she took her husband and regenerated him to create her son, but this is a reflection of the feminine being creation energy. Um, you know, so if you in uncomfortable circumstances right now, your inner masculine is being healed so that you can grow stronger to protect the sacred feminine that is being awakened within you. We need both.
Right.
Yeah, we need both. Um, mm, the protection and stability we once expected from men is now something we're learning how to cultivate in ourselves. That's uncomfortable, not just for us, but for partners too, because
Right.
it's like, well, what the hell good am I? What
Mm-hmm.
what can I do for you? So there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next card that I pulled was Magic and Ritual, which makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
Get that? Y'all,
Yeah.
listen, magic is not evil. It is
Right.
it is a part of your everyday life, whether you know it or not. And the ability to affect your external world by changing your internal world, that's magic.
Right.
Getting something from the unseen internal world into the seen world, the physical world, everything in the physical world is communicating to you what you manifested a long time ago. So if something in your life ain't lining up, just know that it's just showing you that you're growing and
Right.
learning how to go within again. I
Right.
come from the inner work, not the external. You want to add something to that, sis?
No, I mean, you said it perfectly. You said it perfectly.
I feel like we avoid this part because we want it fast.
Right.
And that's
Right.
energy too, you know. Give it to
It
me fast.
takes time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Great things take.
It exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like that saying, a marathon, not a race, not a dash or whatever term you want to use at the end of that, but it's a marathon,
Hmm.
and it takes time. Because if you rush, you're gonna miss a lot. You're
Hmm.
gonna miss a lot of make a lot of mistakes, a lot more mistakes. I mean, we all make mistakes. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
how fast or slow we move, but you tend to make more when you're moving too fast.
it's true. I get impulsive like that. A lot of this got to do with your astrology too. Like, what is the energy that make up your conscious and subconscious? You know what I'm saying? So I
Hmm.
can like that, but um, the most important thing is your daily routines.
Right,
If not, your daily routines, those support the things that you want to have in your life, those things are not ever going to come into your life.
right, exactly.
And if your daily routine is mostly 3D matrix task, that's what you're going to manifest.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
and go ahead, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say there's no way around it.
Mm-mm,
Yeah.
no, I've at work, I've had to put some type of music in my ear,
Mhm.
Sometimes it'll get really, really busy and I'm going from one room to the next room. But I've had to just say, hey, no, get your headphones, put some music in your ear. And it's not just any music. Like here lately, it's been a little bit of Arabic techno, or
Mhm.
um, I just came across the Persian Santour, if I'm saying that properly. Oh my God. That
Yeah.
takes me somewhere. It's beautiful. But it allows me to just not completely separate myself from what I'm doing because I have to get work done, but it allows me not to put all of my energy into it, into that 3D stuff. Um, and it allows me to get prepared
Mhm.
mentally, spiritually, and emotionally for the next room that I'm about to go into because I never really know what I'm into. So it's preparatory for sure, and it's calming throughout the day. Um, Last week, couple days were really rough, but it kept me mellow. It kept me
Mhm.
calm state of mind. Um, and I didn't walk out
Mhm.
like I like I thought that I wanted to, prior to me just kind of putting that music in my ear, but it's necessary. Um, and I took that to like, as I'm cooking or cleaning or doing whatever task that I'm doing around the house, like I'll have it playing too, because it's important so that we
Yeah.
stay in our head about things that are unnecessary. It's okay to be in your head, but if it's not productive, then it means nothing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. When that's true, because throughout my day, I have to do the same thing. And the thing the thing for a lot of us are ADHD and a lot of us are undiagnosed. A lot of us have
mm,
a hyper arousal around
mhm,
thoughts. And so that's an element too. And, I mean, we grew up eating Frankenfood. I mean, 85% of what we grew up eating probably was something created in a laboratory, like Soylent Green. Let's just be real about that.
Mm-hmm.
Impacted our brain development, and it impacted our emotions, our neurological system, our digestion. So everything in the world is frequency, energy, and vibration, and that's creating the ambiance. It's not just the ambiance. You're being intentional about the energy you're creating on you. The
Mm-hmm.
home, creating the ambiance around you is so important to do that. Otherwise, we're just going to live in effect to everybody else's energy all the time. And that's exhausting. And it's in your head all the time. We be
Mm-hmm.
tired. It's not always just the physical. What are you
Right.
mentally doing? How many marathons are you trying to run mentally?
Mm-hmm.
Racing
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
from one task to the other.
Right. Right. And it's amazing like how society has pushed multitasking so much. Mhm.
Yeah.
But then you demonize the people that can't do it. Like multitasking is really not it has its moments where it's beneficial, but it's really not something that is normal. It or should be seen as being normal. But like I said, then they demonize the people that can't do it and they want to, put labels like ADHD, which I understand. But if we approached it differently to start, I don't think we would really have this problem. You know, you can identify the people that can really do this job with all the multitasking capabilities, but even at that point, they become a danger to themselves too. I can multitask all day long,
Yeah.
but I can lose myself in that. And I'm just shuffling, just doing, and I get it done, but it's exhausting.
Yes.
Men-
Yes.
Exhausting, and then it turns into a physical exhaustion, and then the emotional component comes in when you come or you something pops into your head at the end of the day and it's like, oh, I forgot to send that medication.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's like now I'm beating myself up like I
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to do that. Like how
Yeah.
did I forget that? Like so there's challenges on both sides, and neither one of them is a balance. So that's where, I use that music to kind of come in, mellow me out just a little bit. So I'm not doing too much and I'm not, I don't want to call it failing, but I'm not making a cut on one side. I'm like trying to be even kill as possible. So it's life.
It is. It is life. And as we're stepping into emotional maturity on a collective level as responsible adults,
Mm-hmm.
responsibility to manage our mood and our emotions
Mm-hmm.
and stop blaming other people for the way that we react and
Right.
behave, because you're either being a reactor or creator. You cannot be both.
Right.
And
Right.
of being programmed to be codependent, especially as a woman, is that your energy is tethered to the needs of so many people. And so
Mm-hmm.
energetically is happening. Those are literal cords connected from you on a psychic level to those people. And this is why we can know what everybody in the house needs, who
Mm-hmm.
eat, who's getting sick and coming down with something. So I need to go ahead and do this and do that. We're capable of doing that, but it's not sustainable to do it all the time. And this is where the dark feminine come in, and the capacity to say, you know what? Fuck it. I've done all I can do. Fuck it,
Right.
honey. So I didn't have the capacity to stop giving fucks out, you know, until I started to connect with dark feminine energy through working with archetypal goddesses.
Mm-hmm.
That's something every woman who has reached out to me and she's dealing with issues, certain issues and relationship issues and issues with her body, I'm like, you got to get into the subconscious mind. You got to reparent yourself, but not just reparenting yourself from a personal development aspect, like reparent yourself spiritually. Who are your spirit? And a lot of
Right.
people know. And I'm like, you're a spiritual being, but you haven't connected with spiritual parents yet. So you don't have an excuse anymore. I created a course where I teach you how to do it and I teach you how to connect. So
Mm,
this conversation has been really good, really deep. We did go over more than we expected, but it always happens.
mhm,
And I hope that this is going to be something that speaks to you deep in your heart and your soul, maybe fed your soul and you got some answers. I will make sure that I put all of the links to the course in the description, wherever you are saying this. And don't put something off to tomorrow if you can do it today, because
mhm.
teaching your own self to not trust you, to treat your needs as valid and something that you deserve to invest in. So
Right.
thank y'all. We enjoyed y'all. Bye,
Thank-
Keith.
Bye.